The night was quiet on the alien world of Ryler. The sky glowed with 2 pale moons, and a soft wind moved through the silver trees. In the shadows of the forest, a tall figure sat alone. Her name was Leora, and she was different from all others. Of her kind, Leora was bigger than the rest of her people. Her body was broad, her shoulders heavy, and her frame towered above everyone. While other women of her species were slender and graceful, she was large and strong. Because of this, Q was treated as an outcast. For years, she had listened to the cruel whispers, "She is too big," they said. "She is not breeding material." The council had even marked her as unfit, a shameful label in her society. No man of her kind dared to look at her with interest. No family welcomed her into gatherings. She was left to walk alone. Her head lowered in silence, but inside, Leora's heart was soft. She dreamed of love, of being held close, of being seen. As more than her size, yet every time she looked in the mirror like waters of the river. She told herself the same words, "I am too big. No one will ever love me." On this same world, a human had recently arrived. His name was Daniel. He was part of an exploration crew sent from Earth, while most of his team worked with officials. In the capital, Daniel had wandered further. Searching for the hidden parts of Ryler, he loved the wild lands, the quiet rivers, the forests that seemed alive. It was during one of these wanderings that Daniel saw her for the first time. From behind a curtain of glowing leaves, he noticed the giant figure sitting near the water, her long arms wrapped around her knees. Her face buried in sorrow. He froze, at first thinking she might be dangerous, but then he saw the tears, heavy, drops sliding down her cheeks. Leora heard the movement and turned. Her golden eyes widened when she saw the human standing there. For a moment, she expected him to scream or run. That was what others always did. They looked at her size and saw a monster. Not a woman, but Daniel did not move. Instead, he stepped closer, carefully. His voice was gentle. "Are you all right?" he asked. Leora blinked in surprise. Her heart raced. She wanted to tell him to go away, to spare herself the pain of another rejection, but the words stuck in her throat. She only whispered, "Leave. You should not be near me." Daniel tilted his head, confused. "Why?" he asked. "You look like you could use company." Her chest tightened. She shook her head. "I am not like others. I am too big, too wrong. You should not waste your time." Daniel studied her for a moment. His human eyes did not hold fear, only curiosity and kindness. "Too big." He said softly, "I only see someone sitting alone, someone who looks sad." Leora stared at him. Her people had always seen her as a failure. Yet this small human, fragile compared to her, looked at her differently. She felt a strange warmth in her chest, a feeling she had not known in years. Still, doubt weighed heavy. She rose to her feet, her full height casting a long shadow across the forest floor, towering over Daniel. Her voice was sharp. "Do you fear me now?" Daniel looked up at her. His neck craned back, but he did not step away. Instead, he gave a small smile. "You're tall, yes," he said, "but fear?" "No, I don't feel fear." For the first time, Leora's breath caught. She did not know what to say. That night, the two spoke only a little. Daniel asked about the forest, the glowing rivers, the strange birds that flew in the night. Leora answered quietly, almost shyly. She kept expecting him to laugh at her or leave. But he stayed. His presence was calm, steady, unlike anything she had ever known. When Daniel finally left to return to his camp, Leora remained by the river. Her hands touched her chest where her heart beat faster than ever. She whispered to herself, "Why did he not run? Why did he not call me a monster?" But deep inside, she knew the truth. Something had changed. A human had looked at her, not with fear or disgust, but with gentle eyes. And for the first time in her life, hope stirred within the giant outcast. The next day, Leora stayed near the river. Her thoughts were restless. The human had spoken to her without fear. He had even smiled. She could not forget the way his voice sounded, calm and kind. It was different from anything she had ever known. For many years, she had only heard cruel words. Too big, not fit, unworthy. Those words had cut her deeper than any blade. She had built walls around her heart, telling herself she needed no one. But now, a single meeting with a human had shaken those walls. Daniel returned that morning. Carrying a small pack, he was curious about the land, but even more curious about the giant woman he had met. When he saw her again, she was sitting on a fallen log, looking out over the glowing water. "Good morning," Daniel said, his voice cheerful. Leora turned quickly, her eyes narrowed in confusion. "Why are you here again?" she asked. Daniel shrugged. "I thought maybe you'd want company," he said. "Or maybe I just wanted to see if you'd talk to me again." She frowned. "You should not. My people do not want me." "They will not want you near me either," Daniel sat down on a rock nearby, his posture relaxed. "Then it's good. I'm not your people," he replied. His smile was easy, as if her warning meant nothing. Leora stared at him, her chest tightened. "You do not understand. They think I am useless. I cannot give life. I am not breeding material. That is why they cast me aside." Daniel listened, his eyes softened. He did not laugh, he did not look away. Instead, he asked, "Who told you that your worth is only about breeding?" She blinked, her voice shook. "The council, my family, everyone. That is the law of my people. A woman must be chosen to bear children, to continue the line. If she cannot, she is nothing." Daniel's brows furrowed. He shook his head slowly. "That's wrong," he said. "Where I come from, people are not judged only for children. A person's worth is more than that. You are more than that." His words struck her like a thunderbolt. No one had ever told her she was more than her size, more than her failure. She wanted to believe him, but fear whispered inside her mind. "You say these things because you do not know me," she whispered. "You do not know what it feels like to be unwanted." Daniel's voice lowered, gentle and steady. "Maybe I don't know your exact pain," he admitted, "but I know what loneliness feels like. I know what it means to want to be accepted. And I know what it means to see someone who doesn't deserve the hurt they carry." Leora's throat tightened. She looked away. Her golden eyes shimmered with tears. She hated tears, hated showing weakness. But with him, they came freely. Daniel reached into his pack and pulled out a small metal flask. "Here," he said, "it's just water, but it's from Earth. I thought maybe you'd like to try it." She stared at the flask, her large hand trembling slightly as she took it. She raised it to her lips, tasted the cool water, and for some reason, it felt like more than just water. It felt like a gift. A bridge between two worlds. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice breaking. Daniel smiled. "You don't have to thank me," he said. "I just want you to know someone sees you, not as a giant, not as an outcast, but as you." The words echoed in her heart. She wanted to push him away, to protect herself from the pain of hope, but she could not. Something in his voice, something in his eyes made her believe he truly meant it. Days passed. Daniel returned often, each time. He brought small things, stories of Earth, strange little human tools, even food rations. Leora would share her knowledge of the forests, the rivers, and the glowing creatures of her world. Slowly, their conversations grew longer, their silences more comfortable. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in red and gold, a group of Ralarian hunters passed by. They saw Leora sitting with the human. Their laughter was cruel. "Look at her," one sneered. The giant found someone desperate enough to sit with her. Another added, "Careful, human. She may crush you if you get too close." Leora's heart sank. Shame burned her. She lowered her head, expecting Daniel to back away, to leave her just as everyone else had. But Daniel rose to his feet. His voice was sharp, firm. "Enough," he said. "You don't speak to her that way?" The hunters blinked in shock. They had not expected resistance from such a small creature. One of them sneered, "You defend her? She is worthless. You don't understand what she is?" Daniel stepped forward. "I understand enough," he said. "She is kinder than any of you. She has more strength in her heart than you'll ever know." The hunters were stunned in two. Silence. Their mocking smiles faded. With scowls, they finally turned away, muttering insults as they left. Leora could only stare at Daniel. Her heart pounded. Never had anyone defended her like that. Never had anyone stood between her and cruelty. "Why?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "Why do you protect me?" Daniel looked at her, his expression steady. "Because you deserve to be protected," he said softly. "Because you matter." Her breath caught. Tears rolled down her cheeks before she could stop them. In that moment, for the first time, she began to believe that maybe she was not as worthless as she had been told. That night, as the stars lit the sky, Leora whispered to herself, "The human. He does not see me as broken." And with that thought, hope burned a little brighter in her heart. The forest became their secret place. Every evening, Daniel returned, and every evening, Leora was waiting. They sat by the river, walked beneath the silver trees, or simply shared silence as the moons rose. It was a fragile bond, hidden from the eyes of her people, but it was real, at first. Leora was afraid to let herself feel anything. She reminded herself over and over, "I am too big. He will never see me the way I want." But Daniel's kindness wore away at her walls. His laugh warmed her heart. His stories of earth made her dream. His eyes never once looked at her with disgust. One night, Daniel told her about the oceans of his world. "Waves so tall they can swallow ships," he said, his hands moving as he tried to paint the picture. "But when the sun sets, the sea turns to gold." "You'd love it, Leora." She listened with wide eyes, imagining the endless water. "Gold oceans," she whispered. "I have never seen such beauty." Daniel smiled. "You are seeing beauty now," he said softly, "even if you don't realize it." Her breath caught. She looked away quickly, afraid of what his words might mean, afraid of the hope rising inside her chest. But every day, the hope grew stronger. Still, the shadows of her people's judgment clung to her. She knew if anyone saw them together, the whispers would become fire. The council would not forgive her for daring to be close to someone, especially a human. One evening, as they walked deeper into the forest, Leora finally confessed the truth. Her voice trembled as she spoke. "Daniel, there is something you must understand. I am not only an outcast. I was tested long ago. The council said my body is too large, too heavy. It cannot bear children. I am useless to my people." She expected him to flinch, to turn away. She waited for disappointment to show in his face. But Daniel only stopped walking, his eyes steady on hers. "Who told you that makes you useless?" he asked, her hands tightened into fists. "It is the law. The purpose of women in my society is to give life. I cannot. Therefore, I am nothing." Daniel's jaw tightened. His voice was firm. "Leora, that law is wrong. You are not nothing. You are more than your body, more than what some council decided." Her heart ached at his words, but she shook her head. "You do not understand, Daniel. Even if I wished for love, it is impossible. I cannot give a man what he deserves. I cannot give life." Daniel's eyes softened. His voice lowered. "Maybe love is not about what you can give. Maybe it is about what you share. I don't care about their laws. I don't care about what they say. When I look at you, I see someone strong, someone gentle, someone worth knowing." Her breath trembled. For the first time, Someone had looked past the curse that had defined her life. Tears welled in her eyes, but this time they were not only of pain, they carried something brighter. That night, they sat close together. Daniel leaned against the trunk of a glowing tree, and Leora rested nearby. The silence between them was not empty, it was filled with unspoken feelings. With a bond growing stronger in the shadows, over the next days, their connection deepened. Daniel showed her how to write human letters in the dirt. She struggled at first, her large fingers clumsy. But when she managed to form the word hope, he laughed with joy and clapped his hands. She felt like a child again, learning something new, but with him. It felt wonderful. In return, Leora taught him the songs of her people. Old melodies sung in deep voices that echoed through the forest. Daniel listened with awe, saying her voice carried strength like the earth itself. She had always thought her voice was too loud, too harsh, but through his eyes, it became something beautiful, but danger lingered. Shadows were never safe for long. The council grew suspicious of her absences, and whispers spread that the giant outcast was hiding something. Some hunters followed her one evening, staying far behind, waiting to see where she went. That night, Daniel brought a small light from his pack, a device that glowed softly. He set it on the ground, and the two sat in its circle. Their faces glimmered in the pale light. Leora looked at him, her heart racing. "Daniel," she whispered, "why do you stay with me? I am nothing to offer you. You could have anyone. And yet you sit with me in the dark." Daniel looked at her, his voice steady and full of truth. "Because when I'm with you, I don't feel alone. Because when I'm with you, I feel like I'm exactly where I'm meant to be." Her chest tightened. She wanted to believe. She wanted to hold on to those words, but fear still whispered, "It cannot last. They will find out." And in the shadows, unseen eyes watched them. Hunters. Waiting whispers ready to become weapons, for now. Leora allowed herself one fragile moment of peace. She leaned her head back against the tree, listening to Daniel's steady breathing. She whispered so softly he could not hear, if only it could last forever. But deep inside, she knew the shadows were growing, and soon their secret bond would no longer remain hidden. The secret meetings did not stay hidden forever. One night, as Leora and Daniel sat by the glowing river, the sound of branches snapping echoed from the forest. Leora's sharp ears caught it at once. She froze, her body tense. Daniel noticed too. He looked up, his hand instinctively reaching for the small tool strapped at his belt. But before either could move, 3 Rylarian hunters stepped into the clearing. Their eyes narrowed, their mouths twisted with cruel smiles. Well, one sneered. "The outcast has found a friend. A human, no less." Another laughed. "Do you see, brothers? She could not get one of her own kind, so she takes this tiny creature instead." Leora's heart sank. Shame and fear collided inside her chest. She rose to her feet, towering over them. But she did not feel strong. She felt small, exposed. "Leave him out of this," she said, her voice trembling. "He has done nothing wrong." But the hunters only laughed harder. "Nothing wrong." One scoffed. "He sits with you, speaks with you. That is more than wrong. It is forbidden." Daniel stepped forward, his jaw tight. "Stop it," he said, his voice firm. "You have no right to treat her this way," the hunters sneered. One leaned down toward Daniel. "And what will you do, little human? Fight us?" Daniel did not back down. His voice was steady. "If I have to." The hunter's smiles faltered for a moment. They had not expected such boldness from a fragile outsider. Still, they snarled and turned to Leora. "You shame us all. You dare to sit with this creature. You dare to forget your place. The council will hear of this." With that, they left, their footsteps heavy and their words echoing like poison in the night. Leora sank back down by the river, her hands shaking. "It is over," she whispered. "They will tell the council, I will be punished, and you. You will be sent away, or worse." Daniel crouched beside her. His hand rested gently on her arm. "Leora, listen to me. I don't care what they say. I don't care about their laws. You are not wrong for wanting to be seen, for wanting to be loved." Her golden eyes shimmered with tears. She shook her head. "You don't understand, Daniel. They will not allow this. To them, I am already nothing. With you, I am a threat to their order. They will crush us both." Daniel's voice grew stronger. "Then let them try," he said. "I am not leaving you. Not now, not ever." The words pierced her heart. Her whole life she had been told she was unworthy, unlovable, useless, and now, here was someone who saw her differently, someone who chose her despite the danger. For the first time, she allowed herself to smile. It was small, fragile, but real. Over the next days, the tension grew. Whispers spread through the settlement, everywhere Leora walked. She felt eyes on her, sneers at her back. Daniel remained by her side. Ignoring the stares, he spoke boldly when others muttered insults. He never let her walk with her head bowed, but the council did not remain silent. One evening, a messenger came, his voice cold. "Leora, you are summoned before the council. Bring the human." Her blood turned to ice. She looked at Daniel, but he only nodded. "We'll face them together," he said. The council hall was vast, filled with tall pillars and cold stone. Leora walked inside, her steps heavy, Daniel at her side. The elders sat high above, their faces stern. Leora, the head elder, said, his voice echoing, "You stand accused of shaming your people. You were found consorting with an outsider. A human. Explain yourself." Leora's voice shook. "He is kind. He does not see me as you do. He treats me with respect." The hall erupted in whispers. The elder's eyes narrowed. "Respect? Ah. You are a failure. You cannot serve your purpose, and now you bring more shame by clinging to this weak creature. Do you deny that you are unfit?" Her heart pounded. She opened her mouth, but the words caught. For so long she had believed their judgment. For so long she had carried their cruel label. She wanted to shout, to deny, but fear strangled her. Then Daniel stepped forward. His voice rang through the hall. "Enough," he said. "You call her unfit, but you are blind. She is stronger than any of you. She has more heart, more courage, more kindness. If you cannot see her worth, then it is your failure, not hers." The elders gasped, their faces darkened with anger. "Silence, human," one snapped. "You have no place here." But Daniel did not stop. "I have a place wherever she is," he said. His voice burned with passion. "I will not leave her. I will not let you break her. She is not nothing. She is everything." The hall fell silent. Every word hung heavy in the air. Leora stared at him, her chest trembling. Tears streamed down her face. For the first time, she felt something she had never dared to feel: pride. The head elder's voice was sharp. "Then you both defy our law. If this continues, you will both face exile." Exile. The word struck like a blade. To be cast out into the barren lands was a death sentence. Leora's hands shook. She looked at Daniel, fear burning in her eyes, but Daniel only met her gaze, his voice low. "If exile is the cost, then I will pay it, as long as I am with you." Her breath caught, her heart raced. She had never known such devotion, never known someone would stand against the world for her. That night, as they left the hall, the whispers followed. Some mocked, some feared, but all watched. Leora's steps were heavy, but Daniel's hand brushed hers, and for the first time, she let herself believe. Maybe love was stronger than law. Maybe barriers could be broken, but the threat of exile hung over them, a shadow that could strike at any moment. The days after the council meeting were heavy with silence. Everywhere Leora went, eyes followed her. Some were filled with disgust, some with curiosity, but none with kindness. The whispers grew louder. The giant outcast has broken the law. She dares to hold the hand of a human. Leora felt the weight of every word. Every breath was a reminder that she had stepped beyond the limits her people had set. And yet, when Daniel walked beside her, unafraid, she felt a strange power. Rising within her, for the first time, she was not walking alone. One night, as the moon shone bright, Daniel found her sitting by the glowing river. Her head rested against her knees, her body trembling. He sat down beside her, quiet for a moment before speaking gently. "You've been crying again." She did not answer. Her voice was low when she finally whispered, "I am destroying you. Daniel, my people will exile you, maybe even harm you. I cannot let you carry this burden for me." Daniel turned to her, his voice steady. "Leora, listen to me. I choose this. I choose you. I am not here because of pity. I am here because you matter to me." Her heart squeezed. She wanted to believe him, but fear gnawed at her. "You do not understand." She said, "If the council exiles you, you will die in the barren lands. There is no food, no water, only storms. I cannot let you suffer." For me, Daniel reached out, his hand resting gently on her large fingers. "Then we suffer together," he said. "If that is the price, I will pay it. I will not leave you. Not now, not ever." Her golden eyes widened. No one had ever spoken such words to her. No one had ever chosen her over safety. His courage shook her soul. The next morning, the council summoned them again. The hall was filled with elders and citizens. Leora's people wanted to see the fate of the outcast and the human. The head elder's voice rang out. "Leora, we have given you warning, yet you continue this shameful path. You have broken our laws, and the human defies us with his words. For this, the punishment is exile." Gasps filled the room. The people whispered, "Exile. They will be cast into the barren lands." Leora's body trembled. She opened her mouth to plead. But Daniel stepped forward first. His voice was strong. "If exile is what you give us, then so be it. But know this sure law is cruel. You call her unfit, but she has more worth than your entire council. You treat her as a failure. Yet she is stronger and braver than any of you." The hall shook with outrage. The elders shouted, "Silence, human." But Daniel did not stop. "I will not be silent," he said. "I will not let you break her. I love her, and no law, no council, no punishment will change that." The words fell like fire. The entire hall froze. Leora's breath caught. Her heart pounded in her chest. He had spoken it aloud, love. Her people had never given her love, never even given her respect. But this human, fragile and small compared to her, had stood before the council and declared it without fear. Tears filled her eyes. She rose to her feet, her voice breaking. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you love me, Daniel? I am too big, too wrong. I cannot give you children. I cannot give you what others could." Daniel turned to her. His eyes shone with truth, because love is not measured by size or by laws or by children. Love is choosing someone again and again, no matter the cost. And I choose you, Leora, every time. The hall erupted in chaos. Some shouted in anger, some in disbelief. But for Leora, the world had gone silent. Only his words echoed in her heart. Her tears spilled freely. She reached out, her hand trembling. And for the first time, she took his hand in front of everyone. Not in secret, not in shadows, but in the open. Gasps spread through the crowd. The elders' faces twisted in rage. "You defy us openly," one shouted, "then exile is sealed. You will leave before the next moonrise." The sentence was clear. They would be cast into the barren lands. Death awaited them both. As they were led out of the hall, whispers trailed behind, some mocking, some fearful. Yet as Leora walked beside Daniel, his hand still in hers, she felt no shame. For the first time, she felt proud. That night, they returned to the forest. Where it had all begun, the stars glittered above. The river glowed softly. Leora sat with Daniel, her heart heavy yet burning with hope. "I am afraid," she whispered. "The barren lands are cruel. I may not be strong enough to survive, and you. You are human, fragile compared to me." Daniel leaned closer, his voice firm. "Then I will depend on you, and you will depend on me. Together, we are stronger than alone. We will survive, Leora. And even if we do not, at least we will face it together with love." Her breath caught. She looked into his eyes, and in that moment, she realized something powerful. The council could exile them. The world could scorn them. But no one could take away what they had found that night beneath the twin moons. Leora held Daniel close for the first time. She did not feel like the giant outcast. She felt like someone who belonged, someone chosen, someone loved. And though exile waited at dawn, she whispered into the night, "I would rather face death with you than live without you." The barren lands stretched wide before them. Endless dunes of red sand, cracked earth, and skies heavy with dark clouds. Leora and Daniel walked together, their shadows long in the fading light. The council had cast them out with nothing but a small pack of supplies. Their exile was meant to be a slow death, yet as the days passed, they endured. Leora hunted strange desert beasts with her strength. Daniel built shelters from scraps and stone. Together, they survived where many thought they would perish. At night, when the cold winds howled, they huddled close under the glow of the twin moons. Daniel's small frame tucked against her larger body. Leora often whispered, "You should have stayed on your world, Daniel. You deserve better than this." But every time, Daniel answered the same. "I chose you, Leora. I would choose you again." Her heart swelled at his words, but fear still lingered. She could not stop remembering the cruel decree of the council that she was unfit, that she would never bring life. Weeks turned into months. Their bond grew deeper, stronger. They were no longer outcast and outsider. They were simply two souls bound together by love. Then, one morning, Leora awoke with a strange feeling in her body. Her chest was heavy, her breath uneven at first. She thought it was exhaustion, but as days passed, the signs grew, her appetite changed, her strength wavered. Her heart raced with confusion. She tried to hide it from Daniel. But he noticed. "You're not yourself," he said gently. "Something's wrong, isn't it?" Her golden eyes filled with fear. She whispered, "It cannot be, Daniel. It is impossible. My body, it was tested. It cannot give life." But Daniel placed his hand gently against her stomach. His eyes filled with wonder. "Leora," he said softly, "what if they were wrong? What if this is something they could not see?" Her heart pounded. The thought terrified her. Could it be true? Could her body carry life despite the council's judgment? As weeks passed, the truth could no longer be denied. Her body changed. Slow but clear. She was with child. The moment she realized, tears spilled down her cheeks. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "A miracle." "Daniel, it is a miracle." He wrapped his arms around her as best he could, his voice breaking. Then the council lied. "You were never unfit. You were always more than they said." But joy was tangled with fear. If the council learned of this child, they would not see it as a miracle. They would see it as a threat. A child born of human and Relarian blood, proof that their laws were wrong. proof that love was stronger than their rules. "Daniel," she whispered one night, her voice shaking, "if they find out, they will come for us. They will take the child. They may even destroy it." Daniel held her close. "Then they will have to go through me first," he said. His eyes burned with determination. "I will not let them take what is ours." The barren lands became both prison and sanctuary. Every day was a struggle, but also a step toward something greater. Together they built a home from stone and clay, crude but strong. Daniel worked tirelessly, and Leora, even with her growing burden, refused to give up. The child within her became her strength. With every movement she felt inside, she remembered that she was not broken. She was not worthless. She was more alive than ever. One evening, as the stars lit the sky, Daniel sat beside her. His hand rested on her stomach. "What do you think?" he asked. "A boy? A girl?" Leora smiled softly. "I only think of life. Daniel, that is enough." His voice was warm. "Then we will give this child a life better than the one your people gave you. We will raise them with love, not law." Her eyes shimmered with tears. She leaned her head against his shoulder. "I never believed I could have this. I never believed I could be loved or be a mother." "You were always worthy," Daniel whispered. "The council could not see it, but I did. And now the universe proves them wrong, but even as joy filled their hearts, danger loomed. Unknown to them, scouts from the settlement had been sent to watch the barren lands. To the council, curiosity had become fear. Whispers of the human and the giant surviving exile spread. If they had not perished, it meant something unnatural kept them alive. One scout, hidden in the shadows of the dunes, saw Leora's form, heavy with child. His eyes widened in shock. He turned back toward the city, eager to deliver news that would shake the council. That night, Leora felt a shiver in her chest, as if she sensed unseen eyes. She looked at Daniel, her voice trembling. "Something is coming. I can feel it." Daniel pulled her close, his hand tightened around hers. "Let them come," he said. "We have something worth fighting for now. And I will never let them take it." In her heart, fear and hope battled. The child inside her moved, a gentle sign of life, and she whispered, "You are our miracle, little one. You will change everything." And deep inside, she knew it was true. Their love had already broken the barriers. But this child, this impossible child would change not only their lives, but the future of both their worlds. Asterisk. The winds howled across the barren lands, carrying dust and shadows. Leora stood outside the small stone shelter she and Daniel had built. Her hand rested on her swollen stomach. The child inside moving gently. The exile meant death for most. But for her, it had become life. Daniel worked nearby, shaping wood into tools. His face was tired, but his eyes shone with determination. Every day he fought for their survival, and every night he whispered words of love to remind her that she was not alone, but peace was not meant to last. One morning, dark figures appeared on the horizon, scouts from the settlement. Their eyes widened as they saw Leora, heavy with child. They whispered among themselves in disbelief. "It is true," one said. "The outcast carries life. The human has done the impossible." They rushed back to the council, their voices filled with alarm. The news spread like fire. A child born of human and Rylarian blood. A child that could shatter the laws that had stood for centuries. The council gathered in fear and anger. "This cannot be allowed," the head elder growled. "If this child is born, our laws will crumble. Our people will question everything." Yet whispers spread among the common folk. Some called it a curse, but others dared to call it hope. Back in the barren lands, Leora felt the tension in the air. She knew they would come. Her golden eyes shone with worry as she looked at Daniel. "They will not let us live in peace. Daniel, they will come for the child. Daniel took her hands firmly. Then we will protect the child. Together, they think exile will break us, but we are stronger than their laws. The night came when her body trembled with pain. The child was ready. Daniel stayed by her side, holding her hand, whispering encouragement. Hours passed in agony and strength, until at last a cry filled the small shelter. A child was born, small, fragile, yet radiant with life. The sound of that first cry echoed louder than the winds outside. Leora held the baby in her arms, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I thought I was broken," she whispered. "I thought I could never bring life, but here is proof they were wrong." Daniel's voice cracked as he touched the child's tiny hand. "You are not broken, Leora. You were never broken. You were always more than what they told you. And now the universe sees it too." The child had golden eyes like Leora, but the softness of Daniel's face. It was a union of two worlds, a symbol of love-defying law. But as dawn broke, shadows appeared on the horizon again. This time, it was not scouts, it was soldiers. The council had sent them. Their orders were clear: take the child, erase the threat. Leora clutched the baby to her chest, fear burning in her heart. Daniel stood in front of her, his body small compared to the armored soldiers, but his spirit unshaken. "You will not take them," Daniel said firmly. "You will not touch my family." The soldiers hesitated. None of them expected such defiance from a human. Behind them, murmurs rose. More settlers had followed. Curious about the miracle child, Leora stepped forward, her voice powerful. "Look at me," she shouted. "You called me unfit. You called me worthless, but in my arms, I hold life. The very thing you said I could never give." She lifted the child high. The crowd gasped. The baby's golden eyes shimmered in the sunlight. "This child is proof," she cried. "Proof that love is stronger than law. Proof that your counsel is wrong." The people murmured louder. Some shouted in agreement. Some cried out in anger, but the seed of doubt had been planted. The head soldier lowered his weapon, his voice uncertain. "If what she says is true, then perhaps the law has been a lie." The council elders pushed forward, their voices desperate. "Silence her. Take the child. Do not let this madness spread." But the people stepped between the soldiers and the couple. For the first time, they did not look at Leora with scorn, but with awe. Daniel's voice rang out clear: "This child is not a curse. This child is a bridge between two worlds. You can destroy us, but you cannot destroy what we have already proven. Your laws are broken, and your power ends here." The crowd roared. The elders were drowned by voices rising against them. The soldiers lowered their weapons, unwilling to fight against their own people. That day, everything changed. The council's grip weakened, their lies shattered by the cry of a single child. In the weeks that followed, Leora was no longer called outcast. She was called mother. She was called strong. People came to see the miracle child, some with fear, others with hope. But all knowing the world had shifted, Leora sat one evening with Daniel, their child asleep in her arms. She looked at him with tears in her golden eyes. "I never believed I would see this day. I never believed I would be loved or have a family." Daniel kissed her hand gently. "And yet, here we are," he whispered. "You were never too big, never unworthy. You were always enough, Leora. Always." Her heart swelled. She looked at the child and then at the man beside her, and for the first time, she felt whole. She was not the giant outcast. She was a mother, a partner, and a symbol of change. The child stirred, tiny fingers reaching for the stars, and Leora whispered softly, "You will grow in a world where love is stronger than law, stronger than fear, stronger than anything." And as the moons shone above, their light touching the barren lands, It was no longer exile. It was the beginning of a new future. A new beginning born from love.